an act by the then military regime to perpetuate themselves in office. That was just the summary of it. That the military was not ready to hand over to this to democratically elected government. That was the conclusion then. And in order to fight, even though Abiola was not sworn in, but groups under the aegis of Nadeko came up to fight and continue to make advocacy and continue to make public statements that military should hand over to civilian government.
Between 93 and 99, there was military interregnum. But from there, we picked up from democracy 1999 till now, 16 years after also. Have we made a headway?
Yes, we have. It's always a saying that the best military, in fact, the worst civilian regime is better than the best military regime. Why? Because in the military setting, you don't have National Assembly. And what does that mean? You don't have representation. The only way people are represented very well is in their constituencies, both at the State House of Assembly, both at the starting from the local government council. The councillors represent wards. From there, you have state constituencies in the State House of Assembly. The same you have in the Federal House, and now you have in the Senate. Now, government of representation. Even in in military administration, freedom of speech is to some extent restricted. The press, freedom of press, well, even if it is not pronounced, because there was a time Degree 4 came out, I think Degree 4, yeah, that dealt with the press, and when Babangida regime come, removed it, but that was just removing it formality. There was still this restriction of what you say and what you write. But in democracy, you are free. Then we are seeing in democratic setting where people go to court and reclaim their mandates. Even when they are denied by the rigging and by manipulation, they go to court and court give judgment. And court is giving judgment irrespective of who you are. I have seen an immediate past governor being, convicted, by EFCC. Now we have agencies freely working. Who will be EFCC to work during military administration? You dare not, because you are teleguided. And in taking decision, that is why we run into this kind of problem we have now. In state creation were done by people who call themselves Supreme Military Council, or what other one that this other one call their own, just made up of about selected 10 or 15 persons who sit down, and in that 10 or 15 people, you discover that Nigerians were not fully represented by their tribes, by their sections, by their states. And these same 10 to 12 people will take a decision that affects the whole country and call it Supreme Military Council, and you cannot challenge it. So we are celebrating because now we have the freedom to speak, even though we have not gotten it right. Even now that it means too many hands doing the cooking. Even though that we've introduced some element of politics which we are not in a military regime, but then we are still better. All we know is that when you continue a dance, if you continue a dance, or if you are building a structure, you see a mistake, you correct it. That's the good thing. You see a mistake, you correct it, you continue the building. But where you don't have a say in a structure that is growing, then you cannot correct the mistakes. So we are growing gradually. America started somehow, France started somehow, Germany started somehow. Everybody did not start to become strong nation. Political maturity don't come in one day. They did not embrace political socialization. Political culture did not grow up in one day. It is gradually, and because also that the youths that are coming up are beginning to see the need for us to have another view about how our politics is growing. Presently, you see that we now introduce what we call card reader. And now everybody is now, after last election, people are now running to go and get their voters card. But before, we will be dragging people to come and take their permanent voters card, even when you have printed it. But now, people have collected and people are running to go and get. Now, by the time every politician knows that everybody have their voters card and they can decide where they will go to, then somebody will know that tomorrow you don't just buy vote and go in. You don't just manipulate. Now we have card reader. Gradually we go to electronic voting. And by the time we get there, you see that will be matured. That is when politicians will respect the views of the electorate. Politicians should be able to keep to their promise when they are voted into office. Politicians should be aware that people are watching what they are doing, and they can be recorded, they can be voted out, or they can be forced to resign.
Some persons are advocating that May 29 be replaced with June 12 as the true democracy, the day for celebrating democracy in Nigeria. What's your take?
No, I am not in favor of that. Democracy Day marks the day power was actually handed over from the military to civilian, and we have sustained it every 4 years, and that is why it is worth to remember. Well, the other ones was a botched election, but for me, I think ABIOLA, with his struggle for democracy, should be recognized in another way. Should be recognized in another way. Well, if you want to make it another public holiday, but carve a name for it. Carve a name for it. Fine. It will be accepted. Then if you want to give him posthumous award or posthumous declaration, anything you want, and make you begin to recognize him as a former president posthumously, fine. There are other things that could be done. Very notable institutions in this country should also be named after ABIOLA, especially a democratic institution.
The Goodluck administration named UNILAG after.
It's not about UNILAG. It's not about tertiary institution. So if you have a democratic institution now, and it should be named after ABIOLA, because it's the man that fought for democracy. Look for a democratic institution, an institution that represents democracy. Something like an institution that represents administrative hierarchy, like a Kuru, the one in Kuru, NIMSI. Should look for such institution where you have people go for a political training, political and administrative training. You name it after ABIOLA. That would be, it is a worthwhile, because the man stood and fought until the last day. All he was standing for was for democracy.
Let's come back home. Your labor groups in ENUGU named Governor Buhari the best governor.
Labor-friendly governor.
Okay, labor-friendly governor. So there are indices that you looked at. Can you point them out?
What constitutes, when somebody say you are my friend, what do I look at? I call you my friend because when I call you, you answer me. You can invite me and I can sit down with you and discuss. If I have matter, I come to you, you can listen to me. Even if you cannot solve it, you give me a listening ear. Now, if you see anything that relates to me, you will give it attention. Fine. Let me give you the records. The previous administration ran for 8 years, and the governor never attended our Workers' Day for 1 day. For the 8 years, the governor did not attend our Workers' Day. That is number one. 2, we have had series of labor meetings, prayer rallies, invite the governor never attended. But Ugwuanyi came to office and we have had 2 prayer meetings, beginning of the year prayer rally for workers, and he was always there. But we just finished a symposium, TUC organized a symposium on Thursday. He was there. That was part of what makes him labor friendly. Above all, he came and met payment of salary on or before 25th. And he said, for this, I will not joke with it. I must maintain this salary payment. Even though he has not been able, because of constraint, has not been able to improve on the salary. But he has maintained that one he met. Some other governors met some structure and reduced it down, and I even owe him. But he has maintained it and even said, okay, his own will now move from 25th to 23rd. Maintain the pensions of the civil servants, and so on. And so many other things has been able to give 100 units of houses to workers in Element State, and is still pushing for more. So with this, we say, well, these things are not just happening. We are not saying just that as a governor, but it is happening during the time that is clear to describe by clear to everybody as a recession period. If somebody can do this in a recession period, if the economy improves, that means we are hopeful that he will do much more than this if the economy improves. And that is why we say, for what he has done so far and how he related with us. Another thing, in the whole of the administration of the past government, 8 years, we never met with the governor in a meeting more than 5 times. But between when ENUGU took over till now, we have held meetings with him close to more than 10 times. Paris Club will come and say, invite Labour, let us see how we use this money. Bailout fund will come and say, invite Labour, let's discuss it. Labour is agitating for increase. Say, Biko, come, let's look at what we have. What is our income? What can we do? This is what gives us that impression and that feeling that the young man is friendly. Because when you write a letter to a governor, he doesn't reply, he will not call you, he's still doing what he's doing and doesn't give a damn. And that is why you normally have friction. But when he invites you and you discuss, and you also look at the books, because accounts of government is not a secret document. If you look at it well, you say, okay, we thank you for the one you're doing, but please, sir, we need improvement in our salaries because we are not finding it easy at all. And he will say, okay, let's see the run now and July. That's the promise he gave us. Between now and end of July, let's see what we can do. So, what do we do to such person? We commend him so that he have the courage to do more.
We may jump back to Abuja and probably add joint voices as to the presidency. Currently, the president is out of the country, and there were promises that he was to return the last 2 days, but we never heard anything. Is the presidency managing the health of the president the way it should be? And should they continue to give information as concerning the health of the president often as being called for by Nigerians?
Well, all this precision they are giving, for me, I don't really, when a man, you see, the good thing about the current president to have is like, unlike the other one, where somebody will be traveling and will not transmit power. Health issue is not what you decide when you come back, except you don't like yourself, because life goes on. If anything happens to the president today, the next day, within 24 hours, they are swearing in the next president. So if the president says he wants to go and take care of his health, then he should be allowed to go and do so, provided it does not obstruct the administration of the country. I know a time that the governor of ENUGU State was out for almost 4 months. In this state, people rumored a lot of things, that he has died, that this. The man later came back. But still, salary were being paid, contractors were being paid, even when he did not transmit power before leaving. You understand? Now, or when he transmitted but overstayed, sort of. Yeah, he did, but he overstayed. But if the president wants to, there are other other individuals who have gone for treatment for 6 months and nobody is talking about it, but because he's the president. I know. If he says he's going to, and when he was saying, I had a statement, they said that his coming back will be decided by his doctor. So if anybody, when I have not heard from president and somebody is saying he will come 2 days ago, one governor said he was going to come 2 days ago, I didn't regard that, one former governor, what is Okalo in precise. And I say, is Okalo now the spokesperson? Well, He might have said he will come 2 days, and doctor will look at him, run a test. Secondly, a test will come out overnight and say you cannot move today again. You wait. And funnily enough, this is what was going on the last time the president went for checkup. And surprisingly, just early in the morning, the news was everywhere that the president returned, without even information on when he was going to come back. He just came back that morning and moved into the office. So I think we should emphasize much on this. But I think also that the presidency should not be giving people this kind of information, because as Nigerians, when they hear that their president is coming tomorrow, they will be excited to see him. And when they don't see him now, it becomes another issue. They will tend to misinterpret what they are saying. So I think the presidency, if they are not too sure that he's going to come, no need saying he was going to come, because even the last time he came, we did not have a date. All we want is the president, wish him well, let him get better, or let him get well, recover quick, and come back and assume his duty.
It won't be out of place if you lend a voice to the recent call by Northern Coalition Northern Youth asking Igbos to leave the south, the northern region.
Well, I think in playing maturity, we there are sometimes we use a word, say, if I internalize it, I would say is a mistake of the tongue or whatever, because I don't believe that in this present Nigeria, as developed as we are, as united as we are, somebody will wake up to make such provocative statements, which I doubt their ability to enforce such order. You understand? Because I don't know the ability of that group to enforce the order. Because even when you go to if you go to Kaduna that we are talking about, you will know the strength of the Easterners in Kaduna. You know that virtually 60% of the businesses in Kaduna have been run by Easterners. And even if you look at the population of Kaduna in totality, I will tell you that Easterners constitute at least a stake, not less than 40% of that in the population. So I don't know, for a group that is not the government, is not a military, is not a paramilitary, to come out and say must leave. Well, I'm still looking at how they can enforce it, and I'm still my happiness is that the reaction that came from the governor of the state, Malam Nasser Rufai, even when he's outside the country, he reacted immediately and ordered that the police should arrest and prosecute. But for the police, I don't even think they should wait for a fine, because such statements can trigger up a very serious violence. So anybody who makes such statements, you don't even wait for order from the government. The Inspector General of Police should have immediately, in consultation with the Vice President, the acting president, should have ordered for the arrest of those people, because that is capable of destroying the economy of Kaduna State. Because look at Boko Haram, that Borno State, where the issue of Boko Haram centered. How is the economy of Borno State? Because when you are saying Igbos or Easterners should leave, it's not only Easterners that are going to leave. Once Easterners leave, the Westerners will also leave, because they know that tomorrow, if anything happens, they are no longer safe. The Southerners will leave. Even those who are Northerners that are not corn from Kaduna, the Middle Belterners may also leave. So at the end, who is left in the state, and what will be the economy of the state? So I would just say that is a good joke, and I commend the reaction from some other portals, Hanez Ndiba and so on, in respect of that, and some other group from other zones in respect, and so even the clergies, the can and so on. But this Nigeria belongs to us, and we don't think that anybody can just wake up, and say one should go. And until they are also arrested and prosecuted, because that thing amounts to do I call it treasonable felony, by making such statement that's capable of tearing this country Because if you are in Kaduna and you are telling Easterners to go, you're already saying that the Easterners in Kano should go. Easterners in all the northern states should go. Because they cannot finish from Kaduna and remain in other northern states. No. And you're also creating trouble for other northern groups and for other northern governments.
Your last word as to specifically how we can ensure sustainable democratic governance.
Well, what do you do? Sustainable democratic government, first, you have to abide by the rule of law, ensure that the rule of law is applied. Once we apply the rule of law, nobody is above the law. Apply the rule of law, then let the democratic process be clean. Let the democratic process be clean. Give everybody equal opportunity to participate. Avoid all these selections, appointments. Let people elect their representatives. Remove the issue of godfatherism. Remove the issue of sentiments. Let merit, stop slaughtering merit on the altar of quota. Remove mediocrity from the system. Then democracy will be sustained. When you know that you are there for the people, what is simple definition? Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. If you know you are there for the people, then you work for the people. But when you go there on your own and you are not working for the people, democracy will not be sustained. Looting, corruption of in government offices by government political office holders, looting the fund of this state and this nation with impunity, getting rich overnight while in office. This thing should stop. It's about service. It's not about why are you carrying all this money to. It's not about national cake, chop, it's my turn, I chop. No. It's about building the nation. It's my turn to contribute my quota to build Nigeria, to build the state. ENUGU state, for instance. It's not the time to loot ENUGU state. It's not the time to loot Nigeria.